This is DRF, Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Saturday, August the 28th, the Midsummer Derby, the Grade 1 Run Happy Travers. Let's take a look at this field. 3-year-olds going the classic distance of 1.25 miles. Download free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Essential Quality, the Belmont Stakes winner. He's only lost once. That was in the Kentucky Derby. He ran well that day. He's the deserving favorite. He's 4-5 on our colleague David Aragona's morning line.
Yeah, a deserved short price in here. Way the horse to beat. A really nice horse. And just comes in here, I think, still in really good form, Dan. I mean, somebody's really, if he shows up and runs his race anyway, somebody's going to have to really improve to beat him.
And he is not pace dependent. He can get close to slow paces. He can sit in mid-pack if the pace is strong. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Our friends at Timeform US have him in mid-pack. Midnight Bourbon. Thank goodness Midnight Bourbon is okay. That was a horrific incident in the Grade 1 Haskell where he clipped heels and went down. He's expected to make the lead. And I will say this. When he made the lead at the fairgrounds over the winter, he was very, very game. I think that is his best game, and Ricardo Santana is likely to take advantage of the rail.
I think that's probably true. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't just come out running and try to wire the field. We'll see if Mass Parade decides to go with them and put a little pressure on. Midnight Bourbon, I guess the real question with him now is he finally going to take a step forward, Dan? Because as good as this horse has been, and we both think he's been good from day one, I don't see necessarily the development from him. And I just found it hard to, really want to go back to him in here if he's going to be around 9-2. I mean, I personally feel like if he was going to win one of these major races, he would have done it in the Preakness when he sat right up on top of Medina Spirit, took over when that horse came up empty, and to me was run over in the stretch without excuse.
Essential Quality is the number 2. Let's watch his local prep in the Jim Dandy. Luis Saez made sure. He really made sure not to get in any traffic trouble. He kept this horse wider than wide all the way around the track, and it almost cost him. Here's Essential Quality on the outside after losing all that ground. Keep Me in Mind, meanwhile, has been sneaking through along the inside, and it gets a little bit close, but Essential Quality has enough to hold him off.
Yeah, you can just see there, too, through the final 16th or so. Essential Quality was never letting Keep Me in Mind get by him. He was always holding that horse, doing that after just carrying all the ground. And I don't think that was the plan necessarily from Saez, but he wound up in no man's land and just was wide. That's a very tough trip at 1.8 miles at Saratoga. This horse ran really well last time. Obviously, his Belmont is the sort of standout race in this division so far this year. He was excellent that day. And it just sort of proved, Dan, that, you know what, he doesn't always run fast races, but when he has to, he can come up with one.
Keep Me in Mind ran perfectly fine in the Jim Dandy. I wonder if that's the best he can do. To me, it was nice to see that ever since they put the blinkers back on, he's gotten a little bit more interested in the races. He's not a true one-run closer as he was as a 2-year-old when he was a good third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Joel Rosario retains the mount. I think he's fine. I just think maybe he's kind of been exposed after 10 starts.
I kind of agree with you. Doesn't it just kind of feel like if he was going to beat Essential Quality, he was going to do it in the Jim Dandy with that trip, and he just couldn't quite do it. Maybe the 1.25 miles will make a difference this time.
Dynamic One was rested after the Kentucky Derby by Todd Pletcher, and Todd found a great spot for this horse in the Curlin last time out. Now let's watch this race. Miles D, who's also in the Travers, got the jump on Dynamic One. He's in the green. Right in behind is Dynamic One. And watch a rad. He's very, very confident on Dynamic One. Now he eases off the cover. He followed Miles D's cover from the back of the pack. He runs by Miles D, and he stays on. I think this was a sneaky good effort and kind of a breakthrough effort for Dynamic One. Was it the wet track?
I don't think so. I just think this horse is getting better. I think he's really coming to hand at the right time. And he could, in fact, be a really dangerous horse in this Travers because I don't think 1.25 miles is a problem for him. He was basically loaded all the way around the track in that Curlin last time. Clearly the best race he's ever run. And, personally speaking, I thought he was underrated earlier this year anyway. It just feels like, again, maybe he's just really coming to hand at the right time.
We saw Miles D finish second in that race. Not bad at all, considering it was only his third lifetime start and his first race ever around 2 turns. Now, he had a very nice trip under Rosario that day. You saw the leader kind of blow the turn, and Miles D had a big gap, and he split horses to make the lead. He did tow Dynamic One into the race. I thought it was a nice performance. Chad Brown's been out. Look at this pedigree. I mean, by Curlin, and this is the whole Phipps, personal ensign family, he should get the distance.
Yeah, the horse is wicked bred. He's supposed to just stay on all day long. And all in all, he's really good, Dan. I mean, he's lightly raced. He ran really well in the Curlin last time. He was only second best, but he ran a really nice race considering what he was up against in there. The question is, can he, just really improve again? He really improved last time. Can he really improve again as they stretch him out another couple of furlongs?
Al Stahl has the 6, Mask Parade, who was the winner of the Ohio Derby 2 starts back. He beat King Fury. He beat Keep Me in Mind. He might have had a slightly better trip than both of those horses. He came back in the Jim Dandy that we saw, and he ran an okay third. It was a solid pace that he was pushing, and he really only gave ground grudgingly in the final 1/8 of a mile. I think he's okay, and I think a good trip is coming from close to the pace.
Yeah, I think he's okay too. And we'll see. I guess they're going to go forward in here. And if he's not right on the lead, he'll be sitting up there tracking Midnight Bourbon. We'll see how fast they ultimately wind up going. Listen, he ran fine last time. He was no match for the 1-2 finishers in that race. And he, quite simply has to do better.
Let's throw up our top picks for the Travers, Mike. It's a shame that things haven't gone according to plan for the 7 King Fury. He won the Lexington. I know it was a wet track, and I know it was a hot pace, but he made a big middle move into the teeth of that pace and kept right on going. And he was scratched, I believe, the day of the Kentucky Derby. He ran well in the Ohio Derby with maybe not the best trip, and McPeak wanted to run him earlier in the meet on dirt, but because of the quarantine situation, he couldn't. He was forced to run him on turf in the Saratoga Derby. Aren't you supposed to just completely draw a line through that race and say that is a race that merely built fitness for a talented colt?
Yeah, I think it was simply a prep for this horse, and he actually didn't even run terribly in that race. It was wide every step of the way. Probably a very useful run and a race that he probably needed. Listen, Dan, he's to me the only horse. If I wanted to take a shot against Essential Quality, and I realize it won't be easy, I wanted to do it with the 2 horses who I just felt like had the most upside still in this race. And Miles D could certainly be one of those, but I felt like they were the 4 and the 7 King Fury, and I'm going to take King Fury. This horse was, I think, better than he looks as a 2-year-old with a lot of tough trips on his card. Really took a step forward in that Lexington despite all of the wet track, fast-paced stuff. And I think he confirmed in the Ohio Derby that he has indeed improved this year.
And I really think the 1.25 miles will be no problem. I know his dam was a good sprinter, but boy, Curlin is a tremendous 10 furlong stallion. Miles D to me, I'm just basically banking on his upside. It's only his 4th lifetime. So I do wonder if it's maybe a bit too much too soon, but I think the price has to be right on Miles D. 7-2-4-1 for Mike, 5-2-4-7 for me. Listen, Essential Quality is the horse to beat by far in this race. We'll take chances at prices in the Travers.